The journey and the lessons, your journey, your lessons, the journey and lessons that can.
Welcome to the Journeys and Lessons podcast. I am your host, Dr. Lincoln Bryan, and I'm so delighted to bring you my very, very special guest, of course, in this series. We'll be having a wonderful conversation with gospel recording artist. You know her. I mean, she really don't need an introduction, but I'll do it anyway. And of course, once you hear her signature sound, you know without a shadow of a doubt who this is. A powerhouse, a woman of God, born and bred in Kingston, Jamaica, grew up here in Toronto, Canada, and of course, fully committed to the ministry, has been a traveling evangelist, gospel recording artist, operating in the fivefold gift, operating as an evangelist, have been well studied, well versed in the School of Theology, has completed a bachelor's degree of biblical studies at Emmanuel Bible College in Kitchener, Ontario. And of course, you know her musical style combined the island rhythm, the Caribbean influence with traditional gospel and southern gospel sound. She's known for bringing her island rhythm and a fresh sound to the gospel music scene. When you hear her, you know. One of her early recording, the track Great is Thy Glory, with Toronto Masquine 1992, and her first album was Too Much to Gain to Lose, which was released in 1994, which helped raise her profile. As she has released multiple albums over the years, for example, being Courage in 2012, which songs include Better Days Are Coming, Heaven is Better Than This, God is My Refuge, and of course her signature sound that really break out in the Jamaican scene or the Caribbean scene in 2005, Hear My Cry, O Lord. I don't think I need to go any further. You know who I'm talking about, the one, the only. I call her the queen of gospel music out of the Caribbean. Nobody do it like she do it. And of course, she have traveled extensively and minister the gospel. I'm talking about a dear friend, a sister, somebody me love her. She trust me, woman of God. Lady Marvia Providence, my very special guest in the series. Welcome, Lady Marvia. Thank you so much for being with
Hello,
me.
hello. Oh, my mic, hold on.
Yes, you're good. You're good to go. I'm hearing you.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome. And thank you so
Welcome,
much for
welcome.
joining us on the Journeys and Lessons podcast. I've been trying to get you for a while to come on, but I know you with your schedule, how it can be, and you're doing your thing,
Hmm.
doing the work of the Lord, continue to be doing it over all these years. And I'm so glad that you're still doing it. After
Thank
all
you.
these years, Marvia Providence name is still ringing all over the world.
Well,
And
yeah, when you're called, you're not really having a choice. It's just something that is embedded, so you can't run from it. When you run, it runs with you. So
it runs with you.
yeah.
Indeed. And I'm
Mhm.
so happy to have you on Journeys and Lessons podcast. On the Journeys and Lesson podcast, we really try to highlight a person's journey and their lessons. Because I always said that people see the story, the glory, but don't know the story. They see you now, but don't understand the journey that it takes to get here and the lessons that you have learned and the lesson that you would like to impart on others. So they too can garner from your experience and they can take a piece of that and of course they add that as they go on their own personal journey, something they can learn from. So we want to dig into your business a little bit and go into your journeys and your lessons, your story, because everybody see Marvel Providence rocking those stage, preaching the gospel everywhere, but a lot of persons don't know behind the scenes and the journey to becoming the household name that everybody will know. So let's start with the background and we'll talk about Marvia Providence, born and bred, growing up in Jamaica, Marvia as a young girl before the Marvia Providence we have come to know.
Mhm.
Talk to me about your journey, how it started.
Oh boy. It was many, many years ago, as many, many moons, as they say. Grew up in a little in the parish called Clarendon, a little district called Redlands. So my father sent me to live with my grandaunt, me and my other three brothers, the only girl on both sides. My mother and father was never married, so it was the typical Caribbean family.
Hmm.
But, and then my mother eventually decided, but I mean, I was grew up in church. Like
Right.
church was just like a few feet away. Even if you stay home, you could hear church. So it wasn't a choice
Hmm.
for you to go. It was a must. So, and I was in the choir, not because I wanted to, but because I could sing.
Yeah.
I represented all the rallies, all the this, the that, because I could sing, and I did it with much rebellion because I didn't have a choice, and
Right.
especially the rallies. When I did get an opportunity to sing, I was annoyed because there was consistently stopping me, because it's a money venture,
Right. Of course.
every time you start, them stop you in the middle, and I would get annoyed and probably just kiss my teeth and go sit down because to me, I just wanted to sing. I don't know. So
Right.
that was my upbringing. That was my training. I was singing just because I guess I could sing. I don't know how they
Mhm.
they figured that out, but hey, that was one of the things that became. Uh, a lot of reasons for being in church. Not that I was saved, not that I was a Christian, but just because I was gifted. And
Yes.
so I was known for the gift more so than anything else. So that was my beginning. And then one year, my mother decided to send for us. She was living in Canada for many years. Didn't grow up with her. So when I so there were in the 70s, she decided she wanted to take us to Canada, and
Mhm.
so that was it.
Yeah,
And
because a lot of people think to this date that you still live in Jamaica. I remember after everybody started to know about Marvia Providence in the
absolutely,
early 2000s,
yeah.
everybody thought you were based in Jamaica and still based in Jamaica. So talk to me about the transition in the 70s, moving from Jamaica to Canada, because you have spent most of your life in Canada.
Oh yeah.
Um, so talk to me about that transition and being here in Canada and in the early 70s and maybe the different stuff that you have faced. What is a culture shock moving
Oh,
from the country
major, major, major
Canada, yeah.
shock because we came to a city here in Canada called Hamilton, and back then you hardly saw black people like myself,
Hmm.
and so it was huge culture shock coming into a country that's freezing cold, that does not is not created for human beings.
Yeah.
That way you freeze your meat and all of that stuff, and to have you come from a hot country into the
Yes.
freezing. I came into December, it was freezing cold. I mean, not like the winters we're having. The winters back then were horrible, and so it was culture shock, 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 shock. Get going into a school the only black in the classroom, so it was quite shocking, and we were made fun of a lot because they didn't understand us, the way we spoke, what we look like, or the texture of our hair, what my mother made me wear to school because she didn't believe that we should wear pants. So she had me in this ridiculous skirt in the middle winter with my knees out and the socks below my knee, the dress above my knee. It was absolutely crazy. And the shoe at the ankle. So I'm sure I must look like Puppy Show to these white kids. So they made fun of us every chat, especially me. The boys are different. The boys wear their pants, whatever. But for me as the girl, going to school and not wearing in the middle winter. So it was quite a culture shock, and so it was very, very difficult, very, very difficult. And I think it caused me to be a very, very resentful, very angry, because there was just no preparation for all of that. And I
Right,
didn't
right.
understand why these white people were making fun of us, because it was and then from patois to
Hmm.
English to
Right.
French. French was a must until grade 8. So it was,
Wow.
so everything we did, they made fun because our pronunciations was off, and it
Hmm.
was horrible. The way my mom would fix my hair, so they would make fun of it. It was just, it was an unending,
Wow.
yeah.
Wow. Growing up in Hamilton, big shock moving from the Caribbean,
Hmm. Hmm.
rough transition. And
Right.
so we talk about your early days and getting involved. What was it like matriculating into ministry? Because you're growing up in Jamaica and going to Sunday school and singing and so forth. And of course, mom with mother, now you have to go to church. How do you get involved? And how was the matriculation process moving into churches here and getting involved?
I think I don't know. My journey is just ongoing. It was to me it was it's been an uphill battle because my mother was Adventist.
Ah,
So I'm coming out of Church of God Prophecy
mhm.
into an Adventist church
Dentist.
that is all white again. We had a
Wow.
few black people, but not, but we were just the color, adding to the color, but the culture was still very much Canadian. Um,
Hmm.
it was not a charismatic church. You didn't say amen until the pastor was done preaching or until the song was finished singing. And every time we would get an opportunity to sing, we will be critique that, we're trying that, you sing the song straight, even though don't do all of this curve. I mean, it was everything. So,
So it's
and
a
my
big cultural gap, you know.
mother, that
Yes.
is from Friday to Saturday, you can't even turn on the stove, right?
Wow.
You have to have your bath from Friday even before sunset. So I'm telling you, it was crazy. So
Wow.
that was it. I was in that for a while. I mean, it was just church.
Mhm.
Everything was shut down from Friday to even the television you couldn't turn on. It was the pot you couldn't.
Wow.
The only thing they did was reheat the food, right?
Yeah.
But you couldn't cook nothing. You couldn't be it. You have to be it from before. So it
Wow.
was it was quite a coach. So ministry was far. But that wasn't even something I was thinking about. Ministry one year, it wasn't.
Wow. Not something you'd embark on because, of course, you now get so immersed into the Seventh Day Adventist, and
Actually, I
you
was
weren't
I was
used to
very
it.
young. I was 13 when I came up here, so there was
Right.
no way. Ministry wasn't even a thought. I was just trying to survive because there was a lot of changes coming
Hmm.
into a home with a stepfather, a mother who really didn't care for me very much because I think she was still angry at my father. So there was a lot of abuse in emotionally and physically. So it was awful. I was thinking, why didn't you leave me back in Jamaica?
Wow.
Because if this
Wow.
is I'm thinking you haven't seen your daughter for 13 years. I thought, hey, it's gonna be heaven on earth. It was
Hmm.
so I had no I was angry at everybody. God himself, because me say, well, back in Jamaica they were saying, they would sing the song your mother dash you like fall, right? Those kind of things.
Wow.
So when
Wow.
I heard my mother was in Canada, I thought, wow, my mother, you know. So the reception I got here was it just blew me away. So nothing to do with God, nothing. I mean, I was young. I just didn't even know anything about. I mean, or even thought about that. It was
Right.
nowhere
Right.
in my mind. Yeah.
Wow. So what is one of the biggest misconception? I mean, coming in, because now you're thinking my mother is in Canada, it's going to be walking the streets of gold and everything is going to be nice. We're going to have a great relationship. And now you come and it's not what you think it
Yeah. Yeah.
was. Yeah.
Hmm.
So what was the impact that it have? And mentally, because you mentioned about, the level of abuse that it and verbally,
It was
emotional.
really, really. I think that changed my entire um, l- um, concept or whatever I had in mind. The joy to meet my mother, everything just crashed because
Wow.
it was nothing like that. It was, and then um, the reception was absolutely not what I expected. I was seeing my mother for the first time. I
Wow.
was actually meeting her
At
when
13.
at 13.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm coming into a new country, a mother I'm getting just meeting,
Hmm.
um, the weather change, culture shock, church, everything was
Hmm.
just totally um, just ripped away. And here's this 13 that don't have to try and rebuild something to help me to survive in what I was given. So I
Wow.
thought what I thought was a blessing actually then. I mean, we don't understand it then. What
Hmm.
I thought was a blessing turned out to be a total nightmare as far as I was concerned. Yeah. And
Wow.
it just got worse.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That's heavy to go through. So how did, because I mean, growing up in the Seventh Day Adventist, and I know how it is and the staunch rules and all of this with it, because of course the Sabbath is the forefront of everything. It
Mhm.
don't matter what happened, you just maintain the Sabbath. How did, as you're growing up and moving into that teenage stage and trying to find yourself, and of course trying to find what you're used to in terms of church, and
Mhm.
how do you maneuver that part? Talk to me about that point and to get into church that you like and used to and enjoy.
Well, I don't know if you have time for
Yeah,
for
we have time. We have time to talk because I'm sure there are things that you're saying now that a lot of persons
yeah.
wouldn't even know seeing you.
Well, it that went on for a while. Because I was in elementary school into high school, and that continued for the entire time because my mother was very strict and she was very angry,
Mm,
and I didn't realize why she was so angry. If she were to buy me something, she would give it to my brother and say, "Go give it to your sister." But she tried,
really?
right? So we never had nothing. The only relationship we had was with a belt. When she's angry,
Wow.
she expressed it, and
Wow.
so that was my and when it came to time for Mother's Day or to get a card, I didn't even know what to pick because there was just no relationship.
You don't know her.
Don't know. So I just eventually, I mean, I'm writing a book. I'm hope it's hard to write the book because it's
Hmm.
hard to share all of this because we're at a better place now. But
Right.
then as far as I was concerned, I didn't have a mother because we never had
Mm.
anything. So it was it was after years of that going on. Eventually, I left home um, after a very bad experience, and I remember picking up two packing two pairs of jeans, and I never just left, and I never came back,
Wow.
and that was it then. And I was living with a friend of mine. It was difficult for a long time, many years. So that process to where I to actually understanding where God fits, that was like many years.
Yes.
And to be quite frank, I think, let me not say that, but that transition took many years, probably over 20 or so years, to even get
Wow.
myself into a place where I understand church thing. Because even after my mother going to Adventist and leaving home, ending up in a group home in Jamaica, in Canada, you couldn't leave home if you were not a certain age. They would put you
Right.
in home, and
Wow.
so I ended up in a home where I was going to church from the
From the
you
home.
know, the home, and that was the same Sabbath, but it was a Seventh Day Church of God instead of Seventh Day Adventist.
Ah.
So the difference between the two, where they worship on Saturday, but they're charismatic, and
Yeah, absolutely. Holy Ghost Church.
yes, yeah. And I ended up in that church simply because I don't remember how I got there, but they asked me to join the choir. They weren't interested that I was saved. They just the gift again,
Right.
the gift. And
Mm.
so I joined the church because of the gift, but I wasn't really saved. So it was just
Mm.
about the gift. And one of the things that was very prevalent in my growing up was jealousy. That was something I encountered all the time, and I couldn't understand why the jealousy, because I felt I was less than.
Hmm.
Um, when you go home to your family, your Sunday dinner, your Saturday dinner. I went home to the group home.
To the group home. Wow.
Jealousy among I didn't understand it. So I would make my own clothes, and all of that, because I learned to do a lot of things. I'm making clothes. I even was sewing. I was even cutting men's hair, making
Mm.
men's clothing, just to get
Just
by
to
and all of that.
survive.
So yeah, so I'm very good with my hands. So, but I was always encountering jealousy, and so what I did sometimes, I dumped myself down so I could fit in, so they wouldn't feel,
Mm.
you know
Mm.
you were
I
chatting
know that.
in any way. Yeah. So
I
I would
know
I would
that.
try
Wow.
not to sing too much, not to show up too much, not to, even though my clothes was less than, I put myself together well, but that
Right.
was still a problem. So I just did not know how to fit in. So it really worked on my self-esteem, became next to nothing, because
Mm.
I don't, you know what I mean? So if you continue to dub yourself of somebody that's a shine, eventually you're not gonna, you know. So
Right. To think
really,
much of yourself. But
exactly.
but you said something that was so poignant, and I'll let you continue. But it is so much that people often take the gift, because I'm hearing your story. They take the gift and leave you behind.
They don't want the package, just the gift.
Just the gift.
Of the gift. And that's been the ongoing for many years. So people tolerate you because
Mm.
you're gifted.
Mm.
But after that, you know, they don't know if you're going home to you could go back to your home, your group
Hmm.
home,
Group home.
or wherever, and I'll see you next week, really,
Right.
when we need you to shine for us. So that was church. So I remember one time when I was called to the altar for something, and one of the elders laid hands on me and said, God is calling. And I got very angry when
Mm.
she said that. And I ran out of the church. I said, God, you must be really, you're really in a fear. I mean, look at my life. Eh?
Yes.
I said, what you want? Look at my life. Call
Mm.
me to do what? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So I wasn't interested in that, because I believe God was very unfair to call me, because in Jamaica, but when I'm used to, when you're called, it's like somebody put a death sentence on your life. God has called, you know what that
Yeah.
is. And so most people run from calling, because
Yes.
if you have any sense, you know what I mean? So when I heard that pronunciation, I said, no way.
Yes.
Because what I'm used to in Jamaica, when a man call him, walk for miles, him want to pass the church, him never, him
Yes.
a bicycle, him a stuffer. So that's what call was for me. And me come to Canada a stuffer. Me no want that the call.
Yeah.
I left the altar crying, and I ran for many years because I was doing church,
Yes.
and I felt God. Right. I knew what it is. I mean, give me a mic, it's over. I knew that, but That was
Yes.
it. And when I was done, I gone about my business because I said that's it for me. And the times when I thought I was, when you really thought you're trying to, that's when you get crushed. And so I just, after a while, I just gave up. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, I remember I'll share this to where the actual transition start, where I mean I was in church and I was singing and being impactful, but it wasn't really coming from anywhere other than God just dropped this thing on me. That's all I knew.
Right.
Didn't understand it, made no sense. But I just, because it was it was like the only thing that I had that probably brought me some kind of joy or
Joy.
relief or
Yes.
whatever. Because most time when I'm singing, I wasn't singing to anybody. I was just trying to get through another day because
Mm.
life was difficult. You know what I mean? And
Mm.
I remember I was staying that same church. I was staying with one of the mothers in the church because I wasn't home. I was homeless. I was staying with her, and she was so happy to have me because I can sing, blah blah blah, and she planned everything for me to get baptized and all that. And I was terrified. I said, I know I'm going to drown because I know I wasn't ready, but I was doing it because
Right.
that was
You
what.
lived with her.
And actually, when they planned the baptism, it was canceled for some reason, and so I just kind of went back into what I was doing. I remember one night I went out to a party, and I came back, I think this Saturday morning, whatever it was, and what that woman cost me rotten and
Mm.
threw me out. And her son said, "My mother, I talked to you, so you know." And so I said, whatever. I just ignored because she's the same woman who was really cradling me and really happy for me. But because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't go the way she wanted, she just said, all right, get out. And so I got out. I just went to the States. Somebody dropped me at the border, and I went to the States for a while. And that
Mm.
was where I encountered God in a different way because I was continuing to do what I was doing because I was partying from Friday straight back to Sunday morning.
Mm.
Because when my mother would lock me down, I couldn't even shake a toe, much less shake a leg. I didn't know anything about party and anything because you couldn't even go to those places. So
Right.
when I'm grown and I was tired of church. I said, you know what? I will go to church on Saturday. Still continue the Saturday Sabbath Church of God, but at Saturday night we would party. And
Right.
the actual transition, I remember a couple of things started to happen where I would go. I remember I went the routine was Friday night was disco, Saturday night was the club, and Saturday night, like 3 o'clock when the dance all start. Right? And
Right.
I remember this particular day I went to church and I was singing. I think I remember the very dress I had on. And the Holy Spirit came down and I said, not right now, I gotta go. Right. So I just gonna cut it off, drop the mic, and because come church, I feel my posse, we call him back then, was waiting.
Right. Right.
I had to run out of church. As I'm coming from church, I'm running up the stairs, taking off my clothes because I'm rushing. And the minute I got to the club, I felt a pain right across my stomach. And I thought, hey, well, it could gasp me, drink some hot tea and belch and it's gone. But everything I'm drinking in that place, it now work. But and we had the dance hall to go to after club. So
Right.
when we got to the house, we had these basement things, and I said to her, I said, make me some real hot mint tea. And she did. And the PNs decide, say, I'm not going anywhere. I said, "Sure." I give up. I said, I'm going home. Before my head could hit the pillow, the pain was gone. I said, oh, that was a first. What's going on here?
Mm-hmm.
So I said, so kind of put on the lights. But I still kept going because I had things to do. I mean, I'm going to enjoy this to the fullest because church was not working for me. There were times going to church prior to this where I just go and sit. And I wanted to leave, but it was, you wanted to leave. The atmosphere was toxic, but you just couldn't leave because
Couldn't
like
leave.
something was holding you there, and you can't put a finger on it because why are you in this environment if you're not being treated well? But that
Right.
was all I had, and I
That's
would
it.
go
That
and
was your community.
that was it. I would sit in the back and I would weep all the way through the service, feeling it was a horrible feeling. I would not wish that on anybody to be in a place where you're supposed to find peace, a place where that it's like going to a hospital and the doctor said, can't do nothing for you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
You're
so
in pain.
yeah, in pain, but nobody can help you. And I'm thinking, my God. And back there, we wear hats. I put the hats down in my face, and but I was still be singing through because yes, they wanted the gift. That's all they wanted.
Mm.
But I was still doing what they asked of me. And so I'd given up on church by then. Even though I just felt I'm going, but it's not because of any relationship or anything. I was just that was all I had, as you said. And I remember I was singing again at a service, and this lady showed up from a church. It was like some kind of maybe a rally or whatever. So we had different churches there, and I don't know. I think I sang, and she came up to me. She said to me, "You can sing. Why don't you come to my church and sing for us?" I said, "Sure, why not?" I remember it was a Saturday, Sunday morning. I remember exactly what I had on. I came from the dance the Sunday morning. I didn't even change because dance finished in the morning, right?
Right.
And yeah, and I
Come
went
dance to church.
exactly, and I went to the church the night, and they asked me to sing. It was a setup. I'm telling you, it was a little one little 2 by 4 church, Pentecostal Sunday night, right?
Right.
Went up there and I was singing. I never forget. I was singing, "Precious Lord, take my hand," and I started singing. The whole church started getting excited, and the girl who invited me started come hop on one for Karen, and I'm thinking, I said, please, no bother with the excitement. So I'm saying in my mind, no bother with the
Yes.
excitement. I mean, and this is just a one drop, me a pass through, right?
Yes.
But the more me sing, the more them I carry on, and then um, of course I was saying, "First of all, take my hand." Didn't mean a word of it. I was just singing because I could sing.
Right.
That place was full of bulldog. I mean, all over the place. I mean, that church had, I think the whole place was full of bulldog because them the ramp, right?
Yes.
Uh, and when I'm up there and I was done singing, the pastor was beyond strict. Yeah, I'm sure you understand. You
Yeah.
can't
Oh
walk,
yeah. Oh
can't
yeah.
wear that, your lip can't shine, anything.
You
But
know I'm
on
Pentecostal.
mic,
You
right?
know what it is. Yeah.
Exactly. And so here I am now, and I'm done singing, and I felt like I'm planted to the spot because uh no, all eyes are on me because not like a massive, it's a small church. You want this place small, everybody see you.
Yes. Yes.
And them say like we catch one tonight because them I say, "Oh, this woman has sing so." She him said to me, "You save?" I said, "No." You see, we mean, they recognized something.
Mm.
But the fact that I wasn't saved did not make any sense to them
The
because I
oil, man. You
yeah.
saw the oil.
Yeah, and I'm saying, when they said to me, "Are you saved?" Because I'm singing because I need to get out of there because I had one more. I keep telling God, one more dance, right?
Yes.
And every time I say one more, then plan a bigger one. And I said one more dance, and I said, and a big one was coming up, and he said to me, "Are you saved?" And I hold on my head, and I said, "No." He said, "You ready to give?" And I said, "No." And he ball out. He said, "You said no to Jesus," and that was it. When the man said that, I don't know what happened. All of the bulldogs started barking, and his wife was what the lead bulldog. And when she cleaned her throat, it was a sound to the rest of them. And man of God, they circled me and they started to speak in tongues. And I'm sitting there thinking, I said, "No, Kangala, may have one more dance for what, it's not
Mm.
going to be tonight."
Mm.
And they went on and on. When they realized that I'm not budging, eventually it subsided. But something happened that night that I didn't even know. And eventually I got saved. But about 6 months later, one of the mothers said to me, said, she said, "Do you know what happened to you that night when you said no?" I said, "No." She said, I think she had to tell me because I've never forgotten that. She said, "When you said no," she said, "the entire, because I know Tide got to call me now," and said, "the
Right.
entire cloud, there was a blackness," she said, "that came over you." And we started to beg God for mercy.
Wow.
That was what was happening. They were begging
Wow.
God to, and God turned his back and said, "If you don't want me, you know,"
Wow.
and he turned away. And they started to bark and beg God. And then the cloud lifted. But I didn't get saved, but I didn't know that.
Wow.
When I went back to church, because when I go to church, I'm always convicted. Conviction's gone. I couldn't feel nothing. Go to church, I'm saying, "God, what's going on? I can't feel nothing." We start fret because when when God walk away, it's like you might as well. It's like you're
Mhm.
walking dead. You know,
Walking Dead.
a walking dead. And I'm going back to church, and I really wanted. I said, I decide now. But even then, it's just a decision. But I couldn't feel anything, and I'm begging God. I got downstairs, I'm praying, nothing. I'm just all right. We give up. I went back upstairs, and I think we were singing the last song, and somebody came over and just did this. Like they just kind of touched me, and it's like a fountain just burst.
Mm.
A bala 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 bala. So till it was like that was it. That was the day I gave my life to Christ. But it was in that little Pentecostal church. That's why it's very important for us
Yes.
to have this spirit of discerning, because a lot of times people walk away not understanding what's fighting them,
Yes.
and I
Yes.
believe they saved my life.
Yes, and what need to be broken? Because some things you don't even see in the spirit, because you're not yet there. But they're seeing, they're crying mercy while
Mm-hmm.
you're there thinking, all right, we need for God now, no finish. While
Exactly,
they're
and
saying,
you're getting
God,
annoyed because
mercy.
yeah, yes, yes.
Yes,
So
yes.
it is yeah, that was, they saved my life, and I believe that if I wasn't saved in a time in a church like that, in this, after I came back to Canada and see what church was, I don't think I would have survived.
Wow,
I would not have survived, because
wow,
it's a different. I've never seen another church
yes,
that
wow,
nobody could walk in there and behave anyhow, sing anyhow, or do anything anyhow. I remember one time I was singing, because I was the singer at that church. It was a small
right,
church. I was it, right? And I could easily get heady because I was it. And I remember one day I was singing, and I never forget, when I was done singing, thinking that I had it all. The place was so quiet, and the
wow,
Holy Spirit shamed me. And a lady went up after me and she sang, and the whole church could barely hold a note, and the church just,
wow.
and that was the day I never forget. I learned a valuable lesson without even anybody telling me.
Mm-hmm.
They said, you can't do any of this without me. I can use anybody. My life,
Anybody.
yeah, that transformed from that day. I don't step up or uh, do anything in myself, because I know me can't do nothing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I learned a lot. God had to allow all of that stuff to push me out of Canada to get me saved. Because maybe if I was still there, I don't think there's any church I would have said, well, no, well, mm-mm.
Could have gone there because the Lord work in those ways. And sometimes when who the Lord love, he chasten. And sometimes it means that he has to chase you out of Canada to the
Mhm,
United States, back you in a corner, just so that you can be saved.
mhm,
And what we think it is like, God, what you're doing with me. And a lot of time I always say true isolation bring forth divine revelation. And a lot of time the Lord have to isolate you in a place by yourself and you're back against the wall so that you can recognize that
mhm.
it is me who is calling you and I have enough power to
Right.
keep and to sustain you. So the
Mhm,
Lord often do that. And I mean powerful. I never even know it's powerful. And that's why I can't wait for the book to come out. Lady Marv, get the book going and let's plug the book.
mhm.
Because I'm sure people are going to be blessed by it. What was the moment or a season of your life when you realized music and particularly gospel music was your calling or your calling to do ministry because you were singing, and I know a lot of time we may be saved and we're singing but we don't understand ministry in its full context. What was that awakening for you when you realized I think God is pulling me in this direction, more than just singing?
You see, most of the things that happens to me is just it's there's not really moment. I think it's just because it was such a fight.
Yes,
Everything was a fight, and I don't think I had the I fought with anger, because out of
yes.
my own self, because that's all I knew. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know anything about praying or seeking God. I was just trying to survive.
Survive.
I was just trying to survive, because I didn't know my head from a foot. All I had was the gift, that's it. So,
Mm.
and I didn't know what to do, because in Canada, even to this day, the help is not there, because
Yes.
Canada, the mindset is different here.
Mm-hmm.
If I was in another Caribbean island, maybe I would be something even, I don't want to sound ungrateful, but maybe I would be something even more recognized than I. My name is out there, and
Right.
I'm a household name, but within my own. And I mean, we talk about a king is not honored, but we sometimes we use that more of an excuse than
Yes, yes.
use
Rather
it
than do it,
to
like
validate,
take action and make it make sense.
to
Yes,
validate our bad behavior in how we
yes,
see each other, and I don't like that. So um, I just kept going because when I got saved in '87, I came back here and I started to I just got myself sorted out. I got my papers, my citizenship, all of that. I got it sorted out, and I was going to another Pentecostal. I was started going to a Sunday day church here, and the fight continues.
Mm-hmm.
The fight continues, and so I was just, I remember one day. This is when it really kind of took, because I didn't feel led to do secular for some reason. It's a good thing I didn't, because I probably would have been still in it if
Right.
I had gone that route. But I never felt the pull into that. But I was a part of Toronto Squires You Read in
Right.
there, and did a lead in one of their on their album. And one day, a young lady who would use to, back then we had the um, video, we call it VHS video.
VHS. Yeah.
So she was the big, she was a big videographer back then. And she said to me, Marvia, why don't you do a CD, a tape back then? Forget CD. And I said, sure, why not? She said, just, and I will come and record it. While planning the live, somebody said to me, why don't you just do a tape as well, And so it turned into a live recording tape. So I have no idea what I was doing. I just
You're
with
just
my
doing that thing.
just, yeah. And I did the live and it did well. I mean, it wasn't the best quality, but back then it was called Too Much to Gain to Lose. And
Right.
yeah, so I did that live recording, and then it just took off. The girl who did the videographing got upset and didn't, up till this day I don't see the video, because she felt, why would you take it another way when I'm really much doing you a favor? So I didn't even see the video, but the
Oh
tape,
wow.
yeah, the tape did well, and that's how it started. And where I'm a recording artist back then.
Right.
People that sell off, like, why you know, back then you could easily tape a sell off. So that's how it started. Um,
Right.
and one of the things I would do also is that when evangelists come to our church from outside, I would ask them. I say, if you need a singer, call me, right?
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
so I started traveling with one or two evangelists and all of that. So I've been traveling for years, but not on the level as I am now. Just being
Right.
their singer, that I would sing before they preach,
Before they preach. Right.
and that's how it started happening until the year my cry came about. But that's been it. So there was no real aha moment
Right.
until it just started escalating from one thing. It's almost like everything happened by accident, but it was an accident. It's just
Right. God had it in strategic plan. It's just that
exactly.
you didn't plan this all out. It
I
just
didn't
started
plan it.
happening.
It just
Before you
happened.
know it, hold on, I'm a gospel recording artist.
Exactly.
Before you know it, they're saying, hey,
Mhm,
an award.
mhm.
Me?
Exactly.
Oh,
And that's all. That's what it is.
this is it.
He
So
just
the
charted my
Lord
times,
chose
and
it.
that's it. Yeah.
Order your steps and choose your path.
Hmm,
How did your
hmm,
faith really play a role? Because I mean, considering everything you're going through and you realize this direction and I'm singing now and I'm moving along and stuff and God, here it is. I'm in survival mode one. I have to learn to defend myself because I don't have anybody to defend me.
hmm,
I
hmm.
have to be my own voice because I don't have anybody to speak up for me. How did you, and now I understand that is why those who will know Marvel realize that toughness, because you got to listen.
Hmm,
I
hmm.
have to bet on me because I have nobody to bet for me,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
And this has been this
And
way
it's from
forever.
going to folks, and they just drop you.
Yes.
One of the things I learned, like you said, he didn't want anybody to be my crutch. So every
No.
time I found somebody to lean on, or I thought, they would just walk off and I would drop. And I see why now, because folks would like say, I mean, do that fair, I mean, yeah. And
Exactly.
he said he did not
Exactly.
want anybody. Because to be quite frank with you, I can't. When people say, who's your role model, who is your mentor? I don't have one.
Yes.
I really don't have one. It's God Himself, because there was nobody that was permanent. And even those that were supposed to, it's sad to say this, but most of the fights came from the heads, the bishop, the first ladies, the pastors. Those were my fight. Church people, we can't deal with church people. But my
Yes.
fights, my warfare, my oh God, my cutthroat, my
On the
Sanballat and
top.
Tobias, all leaders. Trust me,
Wow.
all of them.
Wow.
And I mean, not everybody, but
Right, right. But
those
that's
were
where
the
the fights,
fights
and
came
most
from.
time it's internal. Most of the time it's
Of course,
internal
of course.
fight and internal pushbacks because
Hmm.
persons are looking at a Marvia Providence. Marvia Providence have to go through this,
Yes, yes.
really? I thought she's well received and everywhere.
I mean, I'm internationally
Yes,
um,
known and acclaimed.
and
Yeah,
hated because
yeah.
I don't even know. Yeah, the real. And I
Well, the Bible said if they
yeah.
hate you, just know they hated him
Hmm.
first
Hmm.
before they hate you. A lot of persons wouldn't see it and wouldn't understand what's happening. And of course, having been dropped, it's not easy. I've been dropped so many times, and I know what you mean. The wounds and the scars and everything. That when you're healed, you forgive. But I never forget how it made me feel.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
as a result, I need to protect me because it don't make any sense you're going back to the same place. You already know what it is.
Sometimes you gotta
So
know if when somebody's not for you, you can't make them.
no.
You know, you can't give them all of the money in the world, they are whatever. It's just not going to.
Yes.
Them
Every
love.
journey every journey have a struggle, Lady Marvia.
Mhm.
What are some of your hardest seasons? Because I know you've gone through some tough seasons. What are some of the hardest seasons personally or spiritually? Did and you had to go through and really had to overcome them?
Well, I've the seasons of jealousy. There was a time
Mm,
when I felt like somebody literally threw a cloak over me, and
wow.
it felt it. I've never. I remember the day I experienced that, and I just wanted to run, take a plane, a bus, a train, anything, because I said, "My God, I had no idea
Mm,
how much, how heavy it was," and and then I've gone through witchcraft. I've
wow.
gone through where there's literally the demonic, the marine kingdom. I mean, everything. I mean, I had to war like it was nobody's business. I mean, pray 24 hours. It was like somebody was I was haunted because I've been people have come up against me in ways that I can, even those that I thought. So I can handle most anything. But
Yes.
when the people that you expect to be the ones to set the example and the ones to shelter you. I mean, I'm not saying, well, Marvia, blah, 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 we all go through it. Yes, I know. But that doesn't make it right. That doesn't make it any easier when you're faced in it.
Right.
And people that judge you unfairly. I think my darkest days has been in those areas. Marriage breakup, and you
Mm-hmm.
still have to keep going. Ministry, you're praying and singing for people, and you go home to your own
By yourself.
by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, at one
You're
point I lost international gospel traveling, and I live in a one room. Lost everything.
Lady Marvin, you're going too fast. We have to compartmentalize these because these are the testimonies and this is going to pull people out. Lady Marvia, are you trying to tell me that Lady Marvia Providence, big and bold and known everywhere, and you're telling me that you had marital issue and breakup happen and one bedroom and
Mhm,
barely talk
mhm,
to me
mhm.
through those seasons?
Oh boy, married for 13 years. That was the marriage was heavily attacked. Um, when the marriage ended, I had to. How do I say this? I had to. Still, I was booked to go to England to do. And you know, England. If you've been to England, England is no
Mm-hmm.
puppet show when it comes to. If you don't have God, you can't preach in
Oh
England.
God.
Yeah,
Oh God.
yeah. You can't pretty up in England.
Mm-hmm.
That is heavy.
Mm-hmm.
But that is one of the places where I thrive the more. And I
Yes.
remember I went. My marriage ended in a May 2015, I think it was, or 14. Well, before the divorce, and
Right.
the I remember the day when it happened. I was supposed to go to England the end of May to do a three services. Because when I did concert, then it wasn't just it was revival. It wasn't
Right.
concert. And when I went, having lost everything, my husband is gone.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Here I am doing ministry, and on top of that, I was going through a series of attack because witchcraft was heavy at the time. There was a time in my home where there was literal worms
Mm.
crawling on my ceiling, worm to crawl upon ceiling, right?
Mm, mm, mm.
And And everything that I packaged in my house, even bottled tightly, everything was inside the bottle, which don't make no sense. I mean, I talk about Weeble, right? 'Cause,
Wow.
yeah, they were like, what the Bible talk about. I looked at after a while. I started. It was the Bible talk, the canker worm and the all
Mm-hmm.
the
Palmer worm.
and the palmer worm. When I
Yes.
looked at one of the thing that was in, it seemed like one of those that the
Bible spoke about.
spoke about, but it was in everything. My flour, my rice, and these were tightly bottled, right?
Wow.
I had to throw away everything. When I get up and I look in the ceiling, worms. I'm thinking I'm spring water, Mr. But and then nothing can kill them. I say, okay, this are not physical.
Mm-mm.
Not physical. They're not dying. So I had to, man, if I mean I pray some breed of prayer that I don't even know how I got through it.
My
And I had got to the prayer, I said, Satan, come, bring it on. Give me your best. That's
mm.
how radical, because I realize, okay, either you're gonna kill
Can't
me.
back up. Yeah. Can't back up.
Oh Jesus!
Can't back up.
I had to prepare at a war wall. Yeah,
Yes.
and I had another wall, and I would go from wall to wall, and I'm praying. I mean, for hours. Don't I would even asleep at the altar. I mean,
Wow.
it was an experience that I've never gone through in all my life, and I'm telling you, because I mean, I've had a one in prayer partner.
Mm. Couldn't find nobody.
It was that time I decided I'm not going back to church. For about 3 years solid or more, I didn't even go to church because I said, what's the point? What church can I go to?
Mm.
I just that not never measure up, because to this day, thank God I'm at a bed, I'm in a good ministry now, but I'm telling you, when church, what is church? This God, when you say church, what you mean?
Mm.
What does church really look like? Because me not understand it, right? And I don't know, I'm thinking I'm a misfit, maybe just not fit in. My girlfriend said, Marvin, nobody can pass to you because you're too. And it's not that you want to be critical. I'm not going to a church to find faults, but I'm saying, what does it mean? I
So
asked God.
you're looking for that demonstration of power,
Yeah,
family,
yeah,
that community, that what and I think for persons like you that come up in the church for so many years, there's a level of potency, there's a level of reverence, that raw power. And when you look, you're not seeing it in the church. Like nobody discern that me I got you. Like nobody see it in the spirit. Nobody come to say we got to pray for you. We have to come, and a few of us need to meet at your house. We need to run a prayer. Would you allow us? It's like when you're at that place, you're wondering, God, is it just me? Where is the church? Where's my
yeah,
help?
yeah,
Where's my
yeah,
defense?
mm,
I,
mm,
I, I know, I know that season. I know that season. I
mm.
know, and that season can easily get you so dismay, and people will go, Evangelist Marvia Providence,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
and not recognizing that you're human. I
Yeah,
think sometimes we don't
you can.
humanize
You
us.
want backslide, but make no sense. You walk
Arrested by the
around
call.
church. Yeah, yeah, you can. So I mean, I am traveling. My home is pretty much gone,
Mm.
and my husband gone. Everybody gone, and I can't call the people and tell them I can't come because I I have problems.
Yes.
I'm fighting physical and spiritual because
Hmm.
the demonic attack was heavy. The way it
Yes.
came up was heavy. I mean, it come up against my womb, it come against my
Mm.
I mean, them decide say you're not bearing up pick. I mean, it was, I mean, everything they came,
My God.
right? And anybody I went to, they never understand. They couldn't deal with it.
Mm.
Literally. Men of that, I think, man, this one is no, them can't the warfare was that me. We talk about dealing with the coast, the queen of the coast, right?
Mm.
And we call your name, right? Who knows you by name? Because whenever my name would go on a flyer, it was warfare.
Mm.
One prophet said to me, they see my pictures and men of God are just tearing them off. The posters are tearing them down and stuff. I mean, my warfare was no normal. I mean, I asked God, Mr. Wanton, I am not a pastor. I'm not none of this. Why all of this? Why me, little me, I go through all that? For what?
Mm.
Right? And I went to England and I'm there 3 services and I said, God, I know you're gonna have a word for me because I'm literally, I'm walking. I don't even know if I'm somebody's carrying me because I don't have the strength. And I did 3, so people get saved, delivered, set free. And I mean, the services were like, my God, people just had drop and things. People get delivered. I
Mm.
mean, I hear nobody now come to me and say,
About you.
about
Those
me.
moments where you say, God, you're using me and other people are being
So
blessed.
you
What
there,
about
I
me?
know you're gonna tell me something because
Yes.
you know some me need a word.
Yes.
I
What
remember
about me?
I intentionally went to this prophet's church, and I went. I said, don't call me. I'm just here to receive.
Yes.
Whole night, the man I sing a look upon me. I said, boy, evangelist is here. Know she knows. We need a top up too. I'm thinking.
Yes.
I said, he wouldn't stop. I said, okay, give me the mic, and the Lord had a word for him
Mm-hmm.
through me, and him not nothing to tell me.
Yes.
The
You
last
need something back from him, eh?
the last service was 3 service, one all over England. The last one is in London, and one of the biggest ones. And I'm there singing. I said, God, at the last one, this nothing. And he said to me, he said, you're not your own. You belong to me. That was a
My
song.
God.
I'm not my own. I belong to them. And I started to sing the song, weeping on stage. That was my consolation. That was my word.
Mm,
Hmm? But
mm,
all that God did for everybody else and send me back
mm.
on the yard.
And he gave you a word all the way to England. He brought you just to remind you,
Yeah,
you are not my own. And can I tell you, it is at this place where you are broken, wounded, and you need a word. And that is the place where the Lord uses you most.
hmm,
Because can I tell you, unless you are at that place, you cannot minister with that potency because all you're going to give is Bible. And
exactly.
at this stage, people who came to hear you, they hear a lot of Bible already. They know about Peter and Paul.
Hmm,
They
hmm.
want somebody that is going through that they can relate to said, I am going through, I've been through, I just came through this, and I'm telling you that the God that bring me through, He is able to bring you through. And so a lot of time, God, because God have done that to me, bring me at the place where me lost all my investment, me not have no
Hmm.
money, and then tell me I'm going to preach. Me say, God, no way. Every time I should tell the man that I'm going to cancel. Him call me on the highest beat, Lady Marvia. Man of God, we're so excited to have you, and we're
Yes.
looking. And I said, I'm really supposed to be telling you that I'm canceling. And I keep calling him to just catch him at when him voice is at a lower tempo to tell him that I'm not going to come. And this man is
Mhm,
always doing a 10 once I call. And I'm thinking, God, I have to go. Only to go and the way how the Lord would have used me to minister to the people. I
mhm,
realized I had to be at the place that I am
mhm,
in that broke state, just lost my investment, everything. I feel lower than low. And that's the place where God will use you most.
mhm.
When you feel you are broken, we have to come and talk. We have to continue the conversation as you talk about losing everything. We're going to pick up from picking up the pieces. So you have to stay right here with us. We're coming back, of course, in part 2 in another episode with Lady Marvia. We're going to continue the conversation, but you have to stick and stay so you can watch next time to hear the next episode. So stay with us. Iron Man, the Journeys and the Lessons podcast right here. And thank you so much for tuning in. And of course, join us next time in the next episode for part 2 of the conversation. I'm Dr. Lincoln Bryan alongside with Lady Marvia Providence. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned.
The journey and the lessons, your journey, your lessons, the journey.